Hi, and welcome to the Flute Talk Podcast, where we talk about all things flute live here on Patreon. What is Patreon? Patreon is a place for fans like you to come and support creators like us. So why not join us over on Patreon and help us continue to make great content? The Flute Talk Podcast is also brought to you by the Flute Center of New York. The Flute Center of New York has the world's largest selection of flutes. If you need to buy a flute or piccolo, the Flute Center of New York has you covered. With our code TFC at checkout, you can try up to 3 to 4 flutes for up to 10 days, have an extended 18-month warranty, and free shipping worldwide. So be sure to go to the website flutes4sale.com. So that's flutes4sale.com. flutesforsale.com. Just be sure to use that code TFC for all those perks, and a little bit of that does go our way. Another sponsor is, well, ourselves. We have a store. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a store over at store.theflutechannel.com. We have some shirts and posters and things like that over at Teespring. So you can definitely go there and get some merch, posters, whatever you like that we have. It will be there. You'll probably notice it under our videos. If you're interested, be sure to go to store.theflutechannel.com. That helps us out immensely. So yeah, on with the show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Flute Talk Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Amelie.
How's it going, Emily?
Good, how are you?
So this is the first podcast that we're actually opening up to everybody now. We've done a little bit of restructuring and stuff, and we're going to still do the same half-hour show, but we're going to do 15 minutes of about what the main topic of the podcast is, and then we're going to open it up to all of you guys here in the live chat on the other side of the last half of the show.
For questions.
For questions.
Yeah.
This week's podcast, we had a couple people ask us, how did this all start? You know, how did the Flute channel begin, and what did we do to kind of create and stuff, and like its lifespan? So, I don't know. I can start a little bit about it. Like, it's been around for 5 years almost, and we kind of just wanted to make something that we would want to have had when we were, for me at least, I always wanted something that was available in a community online because I was raised online and all those types of things, and nothing really existed. And then knowing you and meeting you, we eventually grew to that, building that. I know there's more for you to say, but
yeah. Well, it was really your idea because I was teaching at home, and you would listen to my students.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And you would tell me sometimes, what are you telling them? Because they're improving a lot. Like, I didn't think this person could play like that. And now a couple of weeks later, she's playing pretty well. And so we started talking about pedagogy, what I was saying, and you were like, you should put that online. Exactly. And I said, anyone could do it. And you were like, but they're not doing it, so you should do it. And then we started doing that. It's been a nice adventure.
Totally.
Yeah. I remember at first, I couldn't believe it when we got the first 1,000 views on a video. I was thinking, do you imagine 1,000 people in a hall? Like, how many people that is? It's amazing.
Totally.
And now we've reached a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It's a thing I encourage other people to do, other musicians and even other flutists, like, build a YouTube presence. There's a nice community out there. And we started little first, we started with what we had. We had, little camera, and then we upgraded a little bit, piece by piece. And, and then we just started making like live shows like we do with Flute Talk Podcast. I think that was one of the first things that kind of coincided. I think we did the Flute Talk Podcast as soon as we started. No. Was it a little bit later on?
No, we started by making videos.
Videos, right. Oh, yeah, because we had the other place.
We did videos about different technical topics.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't have any live shows for a while.
Then I recorded a couple of studies, and then the live shows came after. And we started the podcast before the Just Practicing, I think.
I think so, yeah. Hardcore fans would probably know better than us. But, yeah. And then, very simple, setups. Like, we didn't have the lighting that we have now or anything like that. We just started for the first at least 3 years was pretty... not slow, but I mean, like, we were establishing stuff. Like, things weren't really going until...
And I think at first it was really like a side thing, and now it's becoming more and more of a main thing.
Yeah, with your help, with all you people listening on the podcast and also helping us and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of where it kind of all began, really. And then we just kept going at it, and the community kept growing, and then we started building like the poster, which was super popular. And then I think even before the comparison videos that we did a lot of, we the 5-minute warm up for Flutes and Hurry was pretty popular. I remember we let that out for download the first couple months. It was like several thousand downloads, and that was pretty cool. And I think you can still find that over on Patreon now, which is fun. And then we started our Patreon a little bit after too, and that whole ecosystem together. But like I said, it's easy to start. You know, it's hard to keep going. That's how I always feel sometimes if you're all by yourself, because most people don't
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work if you're by yourself. We're lucky that there's two of us, and I'm sure like if people have, I know people who have bigger teams like that, even bigger teams like 4 or 10 people, and they're, you know, it takes work, you know, as well. And just setting up your own schedule if you're doing it on the side. Don't get too stressed that, I always got stressed at the beginning because I saw other people posting more, or, you know, all those types of things like that. And I tried to not look at that and just do the way we do it, how we can, you know.
You can think about, what do I have to share, you know, and start with that. Like, what am I very good at that maybe people would like to see and hear?
Yeah, that's totally true.
We all have a little something. Yeah. But it's also okay, like, not everyone should have a YouTube channel. It would be insane.
Yeah, it would be insane. But
and like some people might like it, some people it's not for them. It's all good. But like, but it's also like the idea of, especially for a musician, that you can create your own things, be an entrepreneur, like be a creator, just make things yourself. You don't have to wait for someone to hire you.
No, exactly.
And this way you get more control over your life, over your artistic endeavors, you know, than waiting for other people.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
No, it can be a very nice adventure.
Yeah, and like I said, I was encouraging more musicians, not like everybody around the corner, you know, like, hey, start a YouTube channel. Hey, start a YouTube channel, you know. But and like I think there is it's better than for me, I think it's better than a portfolio and stuff. I think it establishes a lot of creativity doing your own videos, and you have such open freedom, especially if you want to do a music video or anything like that. Also, it's a niche, and we felt that there was nothing out there, you know, for a community to be like, there is a community out there, but they weren't all accumulating in the spot. Connected. So it's pretty amazing. I just want to say hi to a couple of people here. Now that we have the show, if you're going to be watching or if you're listening to this after the live show, just make sure to check out every month. We're going to have it open now to everybody, so come and join us live. But we'd like to say hi and thanks to all these people: Maddie, Vic Rex, Telly. There's a lot of people. Yidis Pie. I love the YouTube names so much. Joanna, hi. Arnaldo, hi. Victor, hi. And yeah, if you guys have any questions.
The random unicorn.
There's a random unicorn? Oh, there is a random unicorn. Cool. And like, we get so many amazing people from so many different walks of life, and it's really great. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions about either the show, how we do things, or if you have any general questions now, we can open that up. But yeah, what else did we learn, I guess, from opening a channel? Like,
well, just like stopping and let's say I want to make a video about a topic, I have to stop and think, okay, how do I do this? How do I teach this? And I think it makes it clearer. Yeah. Because you have to stop yourself. And it's one thing to teach one student at a time, but really doing it this way, it's maybe a bit more, how do you say, organized, you know, and so you have to organize your thoughts. So I think it's a good exercise for me to do.
Yeah, and it's always cool, like, seeing how the video reacts to people, and knowing, like, this morning, like, what types of videos work and what types of videos don't work, you know. We get to like work with you guys about it. And
people like when I talk about that. They don't like when I talk about this, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So and it's amazing. It actually helps us understand our community better, so we can teach better and also listen and learn from them better. And without your help like that, that's amazing. It's always a great thing, especially when like we do our polls and stuff like that. It's really quite something.
It's a nice thing to have an access like that to a big community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such an easy access. Eventually, it would be a nice thing to have more meetups, but it's a bit difficult with the geography of everything, and like meet people, and also that people meet together so that they meet people.
Yeah.
Because it's not about us, like it's about that community meeting. You know,
yes, exactly.
people with similar interests.
Yeah. And I always encourage, like, if there's people that are in the same state or something like that, like, join together through the chat and they figure it out. You know, it'd be cool. It might be a fun little thing to do, or, you know,
you can do a little sight reading evening, or
exactly.
You know,
there's so many people and so many flutists and even other instrumentalists. We have a lot of other instrumentalists here, which is great. And
there's always repertoire for everything,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
every combination, and you can transpose too. Like it's easy. I used to transpose all the time because I had a friend in high school who played the French horn. I loved playing with her, so we would transpose.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, yeah. And so the community is kind of what drives the channel, I would honestly say. Like, and without them and without you guys, like, it does really make a huge difference on how we move on with the future of the channel and the future of how we are making our stuff, you know. Yeah. Sight reading tips. The Random Unicorn. It's on my audition. The Random Unicorn says, do we have any sight reading tips?
Okay. How many bars do you have to read on your audition? Because usually it's not long. So what you should do is first you look at the key signature. You look at the time signature. And then if it's just a couple of bars, look if there's any accidentals. Are these notes coming back? Try to, read the rhythm a little bit in your head first, and then make sure you have a pulse that you'll be referring to while you're sight reading. And maybe the smartest thing is to see what is the fastest value. Let's say you have 16th notes, but you start with quarter notes. Make sure you don't start too fast. So in your head, hear those 16th notes. Ta ta. Let's say you can play it faster than ta 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 ta. Then this has to be your quarter note. Ta ta. But if you start ta ta, then when you get taka 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 ta, you know. So just see what's coming up so you can prepare, get the right pulse at the right speed. It's not about being fast, but the rhythm. It's more important, I think, for an audition to have your rhythm right, then play fast and then slow down and then go back fast. Like referring to the pulse is so important in music.
That's super smart. Yeah.
So just take a quick look. Usually you are allowed to look a little bit before you start.
Yeah, usually you have at least 30 seconds, like, you know.
And like maybe practice that, get books out and be like, okay, here's that. How fast can I play this? Okay, so this means that I have to start at this speed and, you know.
Exactly. Hopefully that helps. How Teles Girls wants to know, how do you trill a high E flat? From what note? Like, I guess the general trill.
High E flat, like third octave E flat?
I guess so.
With a B, you trill with the little... with
the D?
No.
Oh, go get your flute. It's flute time. Emily's just going to go grab her flute. Great having all these questions. Pump them in through the comment section, and then we'll try to tackle as many as we can.
B flat and B, third octave, you would go like this and then use that little key here.
That could work, exactly.
Yeah, and then with the C, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know with the B.
Yeah, just with the B. There you go. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, that's exactly what she was looking for.
Okay.
So cool. Next one. Hopefully that helped. If not, we'll try to tackle it again in the next time. What we got here? Oh, Potato Peeper Piper Pan says, I have to turn in my audition music tomorrow, and I haven't finished my chromatic scale. Any tips on how to play a chromatic scale?
From what note to what note?
probably C to second octave C, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You should let us know. Where do you
So
start?
if it's
Where do you
more
start
than
with
one
this?
octave, well, chromatic scale is just every note, every semitone. But if you work on it, maybe start by just one octave and go back down, work on that octave, and then practice the second octave by itself, and then practice the whole thing at once. You know?
Yeah.
That could be like going by little increments could help to make it easier.
Make it easier.
Yeah. And make the cool thing with chromatic scales is because you have 12 semitones, you can group it by 3, by 4, by 6. It all works. But make sure you group them. So you're going to go da 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 da, or you can go da 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 da. But this way you put a little emphasis on one of the notes, you know, and that helps you stay in the course, you know, of time. Make sure you put a rhythm in there. It can be by 2, by 3, by 4, by 6, you know.
Right.
Like,
I think it's clarifying it C to second octave.
and then
Right.
okay, but pick one and
Yeah.
so C to C.
C to second octave 5C. So I guess
So 2 octaves.
2 octaves. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
work
that's
on the
right.
first one and the second one separately. Once they're
the second,
comfortable,
yeah.
you know, you go up and down 1 octave, then up and down the second octave,
Yeah.
and then you do the whole thing. Take your metronome, start slowly.
Yeah.
Maybe you just group by 2, and then when you're comfortable, group by 3, and then 4 and 6, you know?
Yeah. Hopefully that helps. No Worth he says he has an old flute and has been sitting in my closet for years. I believe it was a $300. The only problem is the cork is dried up and there aren't any flute repairers near me. I would try to find then the nearest flute repairman that you can mail your flute to, and then you can send it to them if it's in your state or somewhere around. I know Straubinger.com or StraubingerFlutes.com. They have a list of a lot of flute repair techs all over the world. Straubinger, I think it's like Straubinger. I don't remember exactly how to spell it, but if you type Straubinger flutes, you'll probably find it. But mail it, because that's usually the easiest way. And then if it's just the cork, when you say cork, you're probably saying the head joint cork is probably gone. In that case, you might want to invest in a $15 plastic Drellinger or Delrin, Derlin. Those, a lot of people make those, and you can get them for like $15 to $20, and you can install it yourself. I think you just have to cut out the cork.
Also, if he does that, then he doesn't have to send it.
Then
if it's just the cork.
If it's just cork in the head joint, and then there's detailed instructions on how to put it in, and it's really safe. And a lot of people use synthetic now instead of cork.
This way, you never have to change it again, I think.
Except for the washers underneath. There's 3 or 2 washers inside this piece of plastic, and you can actually find those plastic O-rings in the at any hardware store.
Okay.
And it's perfect. It's really not that scientific, but it works very well, and it actually proves to have a better sound than cork does, and it's sealed perfectly. So hopefully that helps. What else? Mary Oriana wants to know, how would you go about playing syncopation?
Okay.
Syncopations.
Syncopation is just, you start on the weak part of the beat and you continue on the strong part of the beat. You can use a tennis ball or any bouncing ball. And when you're down, it's a downbeat when it hits the floor. And when it gets back in your hand, it's the upbeat.
Right.
So you go 1 and 2 and ta.
You're simulating your hand bouncing on the ground for the podcast listeners.
Yeah. But you can also clap in your hands. And when you clap, it's downbeat. And when you're as far as you ever get, it's upbeat. 1 and 2 and you go ta 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 ta, because really it's a feeling.
Yes.
It's a feeling. So it's not necessarily the flute practicing that's going to give it to you. Maybe you need to walk, and you walk when your foot hits the floor, it's 1.
Yes.
It's a downbeat. And when you're just, when you walk, you have this little moment where you're in the air in between two steps, that's the end. And you can walk 1 and 2 and 3. You can also use a metronome. And you can start by subdividing. Okay, so...
Yes. I don't know where... Oh, it's probably
here.
over there. There it is. Trusty
Let's
metronome.
say here I'm at 80. And that's 100. 100 is each 8 note.
Right.
So you go ta, 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 ta. And once you practiced and you're comfortable at like that, maybe you go a bit faster, 120.
Right.
Ta, 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 ta. And in a syncopation, you need that note that's on the upbeat to be a bit more accentuated rhythmically. And then you go per quarter note and you ta, 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 ta. You know, you just use that thing. But when you subdivide, you can also put your subdivision. Here are my 8 notes, and clap 1 on 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ta 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 ta. So with your metronome, you do the subdivision of 8 notes.
Yes.
With your hands, you do the quarter notes, and then you feel all those. You feel the downbeat, the upbeat. You feel the subdivision and the bigger picture, you know, and then you can start feeling that ta, 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 you know?
That's amazing.
It's all a question of feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So hopefully that helps you. Before we take a couple more questions, just to let you guys know, we have, you know, if you want to have lessons with Emily, you can email us at info@theflutechannel.com and join the digital studio, which, you know, you do live lessons via Skype or FaceTime, whatever you have and stuff like that. And those have been proven to be pretty cool and very fun. You get to have one-on-one time and get assessed, and it's really amazing stuff. Also, like we said before at the intro, patreon.com, if you want to help us by tipping us every month for $2, that goes a long way for us. We're already very, very thankful for all the people who are already helping us already. That bit does help a lot. So you can go to patreon.com/theflutechannel. Also our store. You can buy our posters and shirts and stuff like that at store.theflutechannel.com. And then Flute Center New York, right?
Yeah, you can use our code TFC when you want to buy a flute. You can go on their website, flutesforsale.com, and use our code TFC. That helps us out, and it also gives you perks. Yeah. And it's all in the description of the video.
Yeah, and it works all worldwide, and that's flutes4 sale.com. So
yeah, and our code is TFC, and thanks to everyone who used it already.
It's amazing. A lot of people use it, and it does help a lot, and you get to try out the flutes that you want, you know. So that's all of the things for us to talk about for that. Now let's get back onto the questions on this last half of the show. I'm getting Gamer Scroll. He says, I'm getting a little trouble with my low notes. How do I make it come out clearly?
Okay. Usually when I see people with problems with their low notes, they usually cover the embouchure too much.
Yeah.
They lower their head, and then the angle at which the air hits the embouchure is not good anymore. They're completely covering the hole. So I think get your better note, play your better note, look at yourself in the mirror, and then go down without moving the angle too much. You know, don't move too much. Keep your best note is probably an okay embouchure. Keep that embouchure throughout the different registers, and instead of moving too much with the embouchure, just think about sending slower air, and in order to do that, send warm air. And you can practice in your hand, you know, blowing warm air in your hand, and then that's what you want to blow when you play in the low register.
Makes sense. So hopefully that helps. What else we got here? So many nice questions. You guys are great. This is kind of a combiner. Tellez and Derek wants to know, how long have you been playing the flute? What age do you start playing the flute?
So you want to know my age?
What age did you start? Oh, then you can do math.
Yeah, pretty easy.
How good is everybody math?
I've been playing for a long time. 27 years.
At least, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. How long have you been playing?
Oh, I would guess I would say almost same, 23 years. 23 years, I guess. 23.
I've had
24
more years of playing than not.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever played? Hopefully that helps. Fluting. Nice name. That's awesome. Have you ever played Dizzy before? The Dizzy flute.
No.
I played it, but I don't own one. It's okay. I didn't play it like as professional, but I played it. It's a cool little instrument.
What
It
is it?
It does like a buzzing sound. I think it's like zzz, has a extra. I think it's taped. A Dizzy, like there's a membrane. So
Okay.
it makes a sound.
Oh, is it a flute from?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
A Dizzy flute. It's an ethnic flute, but we're going to be doing a whole ethnic flute series next in 2020. Early on, we're going to hopefully have a big batch of things, and
Yeah.
you're going to learn all of them, as many as we can.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little
It'll be
challenge.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be a nice little challenge. Another question: how do you circular breathe? Derek Harris. Well, circular breathing is kind of a super extended technique.
Yeah.
I know it's a hot thing people want to know how to do, but I mean, yeah.
You have to breathe through your nose
Yeah.
while you push the air from your cheeks. So you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about the blowing on the microphone. But
Yeah, so
about
sorry that I blew on the microphone.
that.
It's kind of that, you
Yeah.
can start with a glass of water and a straw, and then
yeah.
you do it with your flute. Personally, my sound is not very good when I use it.
Same. It
I
only works,
think
yeah,
it depends on the type of embouchure that you have a
totally.
lot. I remember a teacher saying it has nothing to do with talent, that thing. It's really like some people just get it right away, and some people, they don't get their
Yeah.
sound with that technique. It's funny.
Right.
And for me, it's a bit difficult, but maybe one day I'll rework on it. I
Yeah.
was never really, really
Yeah.
intense on
Me too.
working on it. I prefer to work on my breathing.
Yeah. I use
Be
it a
more
lot
efficient?
I use it a lot in trills because you can hide
Yeah.
it within trills pretty fast, so then you can hold it forever. But when you can also do circular breathing very easily without an instrument, but then when you start applying it to that, like trumpet players can do it because they have resistance, and we have almost no resistance.
When you play the saxophone, you have something in
Yes.
your mouth. But we have nothing in our mouth, so the embouchure can get a bit
Yeah.
tricky.
It's
I
truly
think
an art form, So,
it's a different thing, yeah.
yeah,
But
it's a different thing.
it's mainly that.
Mhm.
So you can start with a straw and a glass of water, and you make sure there's always bubbles. So you breathe in through your nose,
Yes.
and you put a little bit of air in your cheeks,
Right.
and while you're pushing the air with your cheeks, you breathe in through your nose.
There we go. A couple other combination ones here. Derek Telez, I think, and Artistic Mystery wants to know, how do you create a steady vibrato? How do you vibrato with low notes? And how do you vibrato with high notes? All after the other. Funny, 3 different people all thinking the same thing.
So a steady vibrato, well, you can work on your vibrato with a metronome.
Yep.
So you put it at 72, let's say, and you make 1 vibration per beat, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. Usually I stop at 5. I like 3 and 5 because 4 sounds robotic.
Yes.
And once you control it, then the cool thing is to play with it. Not necessarily be steady with it, but be able to speed it up and slow it down so it doesn't sound like a robot is vibrating. We have a pretty good video about vibrato.
Yeah, we do. It's one of our first videos, actually, and it's actually pretty well descriptive.
Yeah, so you can go there and
Yeah.
see. I explain how to practice it. I explain what it is. I don't see a big difference in playing vibrato in the low register or the high register. Do you?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, if I think about it too much, it's like I sort of have different vowels and an energy level for higher and lower.
Yeah, it's
if you
true.
want to really kind of think of that, but that's
Because
for
if
this
I
can
do
think about
lower,
it.
I go,
Yeah.
and high,
Yeah, I go.
it's like, oh, and then hee.
But
Yeah.
and it's also faster in the higher
It's
register.
faster in the higher
It's
register.
the only way to make it shown. If you use slow vibrato in the high register, it sounds really weird.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I guess because already the hertz, like the
Yes.
vibrations are
Yeah,
shorter, so you need to vibrate.
Yeah, faster.
Shorter,
It's just physics.
or it's
yeah.
gonna sound weird.
Yeah.
And in the lower register, it's the opposite. So yeah,
Yeah.
you vibrate a bit slower, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Like we never talked about it, but I go whoa, 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 and then hee. Like I wouldn't use the same
Yeah.
vowel either.
No, exactly. So
Yeah.
hopefully that helps you guys. That's great. What a great.
It's so
that's
funny we
amazing.
came up with the same
Epiphany.
thing at
Yeah.
the same time.
Pretty amazing.
So it means it's probably true.
Probably. Let's hope so. Yeah. One or two more questions and we'll be ready to go. Sorry, time flies already, but this is great. You guys are great for the first show open up to you guys. Mary Oriana wants to know, do professional players have nickel silver flutes? I believe that my favorite metal is nickel silver. I don't know the exact stats, but nickel silver is a very good type of flute. Those things tend to vibrate more and are more, trumpet like, more shiny, like the student flutes are made out of those. And we always are told to go to silver, and then silver deadens a
or even gold.
Or even gold, which
and I don't sound good on gold. I prefer silver.
It sounds good right in front of you when you're playing it. When you're playing gold, I find it. But when I listen to a recording of me playing, it's not what I hear going out.
But I remember trying like intermediate flute in what is it called? Silver. What?
Silver? Nickel silver.
Nickel silver.
Yes, nickel silver. Yeah.
I think a year or two ago, and remember I said, "Oh, I could play on that flute."
Sure.
Like it sounds very good.
It sounds super good.
So I was thinking,
Yeah.
We get all worked up with. I guess it was a well-made flute, and like scientists say that we're kind of imagining these things because the metal can't really have this much effect on the sound because it's mainly like how it's built way more than the metal that you're using.
Yeah, there's a lot of good science about that.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. I think the University of Denver or somewhere in Colorado, they did this huge thing in the 90s, and it's quite amazing and intensive, and it basically proves that, like the metals kind of, But again, like when you're playing it, it's vibrating differently on your lip and everything. So it is a different sensation, but the sound itself going out is almost the same.
Yeah. There's not So, and if you sound better on something, like it's really, it's about the result. If you sound better on something, then maybe it's better for you, and that's it,
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that clears it up. I would personally, if I ever got another flute, I would definitely get a professionally made nickel silver flute,
Yeah?
Yeah, it would be nice just to have that because, like, to go back and feel a bit more, I don't know, it feels more, it has more resistance, I feel, than silver does when I used to play
Maybe it's a bit easier to make it sound good.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be very interesting to see. I'll have to research about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
Here we go. I think we have one or two more questions. How Shift Artif wants to know, how can you conserve air while playing?
Well, you don't blow it all at once.
Yeah. Your body can retain the air and just about,
I think it has to do with your rib cage. It's like when you breathe in, your ribs go away from each other a little bit. If you breathe enough, like if you only breathe through your belly, I feel it's not enough. I use my rib cage a lot. So the ribs go away from each other. And then I keep that opening and I go at a speed that I control with the muscles that are all around my belly and my rib cage. And then it goes back slowly, not like it's not like you blow it all at once. It's really that's what support is. Support is not just blowing all the air out fast. It's really at a certain speed. You can practice different breathing techniques, like the square breathing. You breathe in 4 seconds, you hold 4 seconds, you breathe out 4 seconds, you hold 4 seconds, and all that. And then I like to do it and increase the amount of time. So maybe 5, 6, 7, 8. Like sometimes I get to 10 seconds almost. Right. And like if you want to fall asleep, it's a good way. Like it really calms you down. But also I feel it makes you feel, oh, okay, here I push with that muscle and I can keep it in, and maybe it's just that you're just letting all the air out instead of pushing it with control.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that clears it up a bit. And last question. Thanks, everybody. This is the last question of the podcast. And like I said, we do this every month, once a month at the end of the month, last Sunday usually, or the last weekend of the month. Join us next time for sure. But here's the next question and last one. Artistic Mystery wants to know, how do you know when to breathe in a piece?
Okay.
It's a good one.
There's different places. When you have a rest, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
When you have a long note, it's usually a good place. When you finish a phrase,
Yeah.
usually people tend to breathe at the bar line. It's not always the best place to breathe because very often the cadence will be after the bar line. So usually, let's say you have the couple 5-1, that's like the motor of the tonal system.
Yes.
So you have the 5 on one bar and the 1 is on the beginning of the next bar usually. And you should breathe after that 1. So usually after the first note of the bar, you have some type of release of attention, and that's a good spot to breathe after that first note. But it all depends, you know. It's really a question of each piece is a bit different.
Exactly.
Like start with rests, long notes, and check where your phrases end. Usually with just your own musical intuition, you'll know where the phrase ends. And try not to chop the phrase by taking a breath just before the end. It's like,
Right.
I'm going to tell you a story. You know, don't chop your phrase like that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't breathe like, I'm going to tell you a story.
Story, exactly.
You would story and then take a breath and start your story.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So just
Totally.
sing your music. If you sing, usually you're going to be musical and you're going to be intuitive and you're going to be right. If you sing it, you'll see, oh, no, I shouldn't breathe there.
Right.
Or, oh, this is a good spot. So maybe that's a good way to do it.
So, yeah, hopefully that helped. Also, everyone...
We have a video about that too.
It's true. We do have a video
About where
that.
to breathe.
Exactly. So, yeah, hopefully that helped you. And just another reminder for all of you, and I think you've already done, a couple people have already done it, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you are in the world, go and if you're using an iDevice, go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review for this podcast. It's great. And already a couple people have done it, which is amazing. And it really, really helps a long way for us to get more people to use and see our podcast over at Apple Podcasts. So go leave a review there. If you have a voice recording or a voice question, if you have a question, go to anchor.fm/flute. And you can leave a voicemail for us, and we can play it on here, and we can on the show live, and we can assess your question, or maybe you have something you can play a little short thing, and we can understand what's going on, and that's really cool. So you can go to Anchor, like the anchor, like an anchor for a boat, anchor.fm/flute, and there you can leave a little voice message for us. And go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review if you want. That'd be really amazing. And again, that goes a very long way. Happy Thanksgiving weekend for everybody in the U.S. I know it's a big, long weekend for everybody there, and a lot of our fans are from there too, so happy holidays. And the next time we'll be doing the podcast will be after the holidays, so happy holidays as well, because that'll be at the end of enjoy your Christmas concerts and all those types of things. And see you later this month with our regular videos and our live Just Practicings as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate it. See ya. Bye.